information era hit with television. And so I think that helped color up things a little bit differently. Nobody wanted to be black and white blah. So we began to decorate up a little better, and the checkerboard became part of decorating us up a little bit better and making us a little more splashy. And we needed to recruit to a little more splashy atmosphere than we were trying to recruit to.
And on this 60th anniversary, how sweet it is.
Oh, hello there. It is October 10th, Thursday evening, 8:32 on your clocks.
10:10.
And it is this week's edition of the Very Orange live stream. I am your co-host coming from 1998 Championship Drive in Knoxville, Tennessee, the Super Genius Wiley, along with my co-host,
Young Brandon. We're going to bring you all the news on the Vols and maybe a little bit more.
Yeah,
well,
we're going to.
Brother, it wasn't a good week last week.
Well, I'm going to have to elaborate more later on, but it boils down to one thing: playing scared. We played scared on offense. Nico got rattled. The line did not hold up for him. I mean, I thought initially it was a good thing that he was going to have his original starters back up there for him, but Hurd and Johnson did not hold up on those at the bookends for him, and Lance Hurd especially got some procedure penalties called on him, and that definitely hurt us quite a bit. So it might have been a better situation had we waited maybe another week to put Lance back in and let Dan Davis start at that tackle.
I think so.
Yeah, somebody who had been getting the reps, who was ready to go, and let Lance start his season in a little bit more familiar.
I think that rhythm,
environment,
that juju, that sauce is all off.
Exactly.
But also, and we can go back and forth through what happened in the game. With a minute and 18 seconds left, we let them score. If you're going to stick to that, run it down the straight center middle of the damn line, you cannot stick to that if you're going to let them score. And they let them score, so we would have time on the clock.
I mean, it was obviously let up. I mean, because we could have stopped their backup quarterback. We could have lit his ass up. I mean, would they have eventually scored? Probably. Would they have run the clock out? Probably. Would we have a shot? Probably.
It was a smart move. But
yeah, it was. I don't.
Calling it was.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the call, letting them go ahead and score. But unless you're going to go hammer down the other direction,
exactly.
What's the use? Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, exactly.
Some of those guys did everything they could.
If you'd like to join us,
please do so. There was just some things that were lacking. I mean, vertical passing game. I mean, I think Nico went vertical one time and he overthrew Squirrel by about 7 yards. only had 2 targets to the tight end, both of them the Kitzelman. So I wonder what's going on in the tight end room. Why aren't we
Yeah, that's a huge question mark right now.
Why aren't we using Stays? Why are we using Stays and Davis more? Why aren't we seeing Mike Matthews out there more? Which kind of goes back to some of the things that we had been. Kind of makes me wonder some of the things that we had heard that there are issues in the wide receiver room.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it?
It does make you wonder. I mean,
definitely.
If those boys most certainly need to play for each other.
Yeah.
On the base level. But we're banged up a little bit. Bruce got a little bit of a rib injury, and Squirrel walked out of Fayetteville with his arm in a sling today. But they both looks like they're both listed as probable.
Yeah.
So they're probably gonna. I would think Brew would go before Squirrel would. I mean, Brew does have some broken fingers on it. I think his right hand.
Yeah.
But I don't think I don't think that's gonna affect him much.
No, and honestly, let's call a spade a spade. We are playing the Poverty Lizards. And I would much rather, if there's any kind of question, I would rather see them come into Neyland and play against Alabama.
Outside of Chattanooga and Kent State, I have not been comfortable with anything. Okay. Even Florida. Florida's down. They had a little bit of a rebound last week. They played a halfway decent game against UCF. They almost covered the spread. I wish I had your level of enthusiasm. If those boys can play, I think we need them. I think we should use them.
Well, that's true. But I'm not even considering the offense. I mean, Sampson running the ball, I'm considering, and whether or not the Gators can stop him. But our defense is still top tier,
the defense. Yeah, the defense played as hard as they could for as long as they could.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew what we were getting into when we were going in against Taylor Green, and I'm sorry he got hurt the way he did.
Yeah.
That was a really crappy way to get taken out of the game.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that.
No, nobody wants to see that.
Someone with good sportsmanship doesn't want to see that.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
But someone said to me, like, oh, well, Arkansas should have scored, blah, blah. It could have been up by so many touchdowns. I was like, the defense did not let that happen.
Yeah.
If you can't see that part of this football game, you're only seeing half the game.
Yep.
We've got a defense. It ain't going away. What's going to have to be examined with a fine-tooth comb is our offensive play calling.
There's that, and my question continues to be: what are we scared of?
Yeah.
What exactly? Okay.
Well, and if
I have no problem with being afraid. I really don't. But when that starts to affect your ability to function, that's where the problem starts.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
And that's what we saw. I mean, John, why you say courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway.
Right.
So we got to go out there and we got to get it done. And I mean, you've seen the era of the quote unquote laid back quarterback.
Yeah.
And we've seen we've seen two of the most laid back quarterbacks in the SEC the past 2 weeks get smacked around a little bit. And them boys need to get a little pissed off.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
without a doubt in my mind.
take that energy that you get from being angry and channel it into something that's going to help your team win.
Right. And like I was going to say, honestly, I think I'm going to say the second half of that Oklahoma game, as well as all 4 quarters of the Arkansas game, Nico's been scared out there.
He hadn't looked right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know if it's a combination of just him not wanting to being afraid to stay in the pocket. I mean,
yeah,
he hasn't scrambled enough. He holds on to the ball way too long. I mean,
yeah, there's a good 2 seconds too long.
I can't like, get rid of the ball, kid. Get rid of the ball, kid. Get rid of it. Unload it.
Yeah.
Just chuck it to the sideline. As long as it goes past the line of scrimmage, you're good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm anxious to see what happens Saturday, and if anything drastically changes with this offensive game calling. Like I said, though, I think we can stand on our defense as long as we need to against Florida.
Well, and a lot of people have been saying there's just not the juice with this game that there has been in the past. Because I mean, honestly, well,
we're still favored by 15.5 points.
Well, there's that, and Napier is not the type of coach that engenders that kind of response. He's not an asshole. He's not cocky.
Yeah.
He's very forthright. I mean, I would say it's because he's a Tennessee boy. Well, Spurrier's a Tennessee boy. Spurrier's a Tennessee boy too. That didn't mean that.
Yeah,
that just made us hate him more. That just made us hate him more. I mean, Napier wasn't even on Tennessee's recruiting radar coming out of high school. Okay. He's from Cookeville. I don't know if he went to Cookeville High proper, if he went to Upperman, someplace around there.
Yeah. Yeah, and all those things are to his credit. You don't want a hothead being the coach of a football team, because
no.
When you're up here, you're way up here, but when you're down, you're way the hell down here.
And we're not talking about ducks, ducks pulling a truck or anything like that. So, I mean,
ducks pulling a truck. Anyway, we lost that football game. We gave it away. Let's get into the upsets that happened last week. I think that's a good little bridge there, a little segue.
I lived vicariously through my mother and my sister, both of whom are Vanderbilt graduates.
That we'll get to that one last. It deserves the gravitas of being the last upset we talk about.
Yeah.
In a move, I didn't know. Yeah, I'm going to talk. The first game I'm going to talk about is USC, because they are not in our conference, and it's hard to really nail down how good they are in the past about 6 years or so. Because that Caleb Williams kid, he didn't as some people say, knock anybody's dick off with his football skills.
Yep.
So they lost to Minnesota, and they're kind of that same way, like your Cal, like your Arkansas, frankly. you never quite know how good they are. Kind of one of those things. But they beat the mighty Trojans, which kind of makes me happy. And in the end, might have been better for us as far as being ranked. And hell, we're still 8th in the AP poll. And there have been plenty of losses to go around this year. Both last week and the week before that, which makes me plenty happy. One, I was kind of surprised because I wasn't quite sure about them either, was the SMU game.
SMU has been sneaky good this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Rhett Lashley has a good offense, has a good thing going down there. His offense is obviously performing at a really high level. So it's going to be interesting to see what else they do in the Big 12 going forward. But that was they're really, really, really making some noise. I'm telling you right now, though, the team that I've got circled.
Wait, this is my son that says Boise State.
Oh, Boise State.
Yeah.
No, the team I have circled that I don't hear anybody talking about, and I'm being perfectly honest about this. Who I don't hear anybody talking about is Indiana. Kurt Cignetti is a hell of a football coach, and go ahead and circle it. November 23rd. The Saturday before Thanksgiving, they go to Columbus and play Ohio State.
Columbus.
That is good. If Indiana can get past Michigan, they've got to play. They've got Michigan and Washington. They got Washington and Michigan at home. If they can get through that stretch, and if they can get hot and they can get to Columbus undefeated, man, that game is going to absolutely light.
Yeah, it'll mean a lot. Yeah,
the world on fire. It's going to be a good game, and Kurt Cignetti is a good coach. I mean, our Papa Gator said it himself. Kurt Cignetti was 10 years younger. He'd be at the top of Florida's coaching list. I think he needs to be at the top of Florida's coaching list now.
Yeah.
Because all that dude does is win.
That's true.
He's late 50s, I think. I'll look.
That's what I didn't think he'd made it to 60 yet, but
actually he's 63.
Is he?
Yeah, he's 63. But I don't know, man. That's still 10 years of coaching. I would milk every cuss. I mean, Saban retired when he was 71 when he retired. So,
yeah.
72 when he retired. He's about to turn 73. So, I mean, I'd still say age ain't nothing but a number. If he can still go, get him in there. I mean, you've seen what youth has gotten you. I mean, this guy can coach. Anyway, back to upsets.
Well, all valid points, of course, sir. And I would be pretty delighted if Indiana came in and beat the Ohio State University.
I mean, it's like I said, they get hot. I wouldn't count them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they would definitely go in as a road dog. I'd say touchdown or more, but still, I don't know that I don't know. I'd bet against them.
don't know. Don't know. That'd be a pretty good game, though. I think, and I definitely think they have a better shot against Michigan. As
Well, it's a home game. It's a home game, yeah. So
yeah. In a delightful game that I don't have a word for. We'll call it go fuck yourself drink. They got dragged by Texas A&M. A score of 41-10.
drink. If you'll forgive the phraseology, blew his wad last year. He hit really well in the portal with especially on the O line and in his backfield. I mean, and those kids played their hearts out for him, and it came out. It definitely they came out with a 10-3 season last year. I mean, hey, this year is completely different. I mean, you can't. If you cannot keep your quarterback,
well, he's got to be upright back there.
Yeah, he got to be. Yeah, I mean that's the biggest issue. He's got to be upright. If you can't keep if you can't keep Brady Cook upright, it doesn't matter how many targets Theo Weese gets during the game because he's not going to be able to see him. I mean,
yeah.
So, I mean, I honestly like our odds if we ever got a chance to play. If we got a chance to play him again after last year.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. Luther Burden could be 10 feet tall, but
yeah, if you've got 10 million linemen and defensive linemen in your face, you're not going to be able to see him.
So, just my shout out to my boy Dan if you ever get to watch this. We're just going to say Mizzou got bent over like a sapling in a hurricane.
Okay.
All right. And lastly, if you don't know about it, you've been living under a rock. The mighty.
Fight fiercely, Vandy. Fight fiercely. The Doors.
The mighty Doors. The Doors.
Let's forget the fact. Let's forget the fact that was their first victory against Alabama in 40 years. Let's focus on the fact that they had been 0-60. 0-60. Against AP number ones.
Yeah. Well, number one.
Yeah. So, and one of the things that kind of clued me in that I did not know that and it's interesting statistic given the games out that Vanderbilt has lost and the close games they've been in. They're now 13-0 when they lead going into the fourth quarter under Clark Lee. So I'm like,
Lee turning a few things around.
This might actually happen. I mean,
I'm going to say this. Well, I got two things.
He might be the only decent one out of that Chip Kelly coaching tree.
could be. You don't start improving things in and around your stadium like they have at Vanderbilt without some kind of plan to win.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to take all that medical money and start dragging people out of the NIL.
Well, the
NIL contracts.
The athletic department of Vanderbilt for decades has been a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, they even went so far when Gordon Gee was the chancellor at Vanderbilt in the 2000s, he actually did away with the athletic director's position, said, no, I'll just do it. I mean, it had become that big of a fiasco in Nashville. They did not have a athletic director for a couple of years, and it was just completely FUBAR. I mean, it was really bad. So, I mean, there was only one way to go, but up. I mean, in that stadium, there are D3 schools with bigger stadiums and better facilities.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Dakota schools, Idaho, the friggin' Vandals have a dome that they play in. I mean, so so it's just what do you value? What do you value? And I think it started.
Come on and talk to us, person watching.
It started to change when they started winning national titles. I mean, first they won a championship in women's bowling, and then they won the College World Series, and so things just started to pick up. I mean, the Vanderbilt women's team made a Final Four. Probably should have won the title that year, but they got beat by, at the time, the greatest women's basketball player on the planet, Cheryl Swoops, tore them up. And I knew, and incidentally, I knew just about every lady on that team because my sister was the manager on that team, so I knew all of them. I cheered hard. I actually cheered very hard for that team, except when they played us. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that is. I don't know. Are they the Cinderella story for the rest of the year? Do they garner enough attention, beating number one, to have people?
I think they'll have people rooting for them. I think they have to keep winning.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they've got to keep winning. They've got to keep going. I mean, it is definitely it's definitely doable. Just depending on what the remainder of their schedule is, which I'm trying to look up here at the moment. Let's see.
Well, and this is
they've got Kentucky. They've got Kentucky, which that's winnable. That they can conceivably beat Kentucky. They got Ball State. That's a win.
Yeah.
But then Texas comes to town. So we're gonna see what we see. Now going up to Kroger Field is not going to be easy. Honestly, I mean that's a really big high to come down off of that to be ready to play again.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So especially after the two games that they had lost going in, especially that Georgia State game, which was just head shakingly bad. Not that we don't know anything about that. But they, if they beat Kentucky, they get Ball State. That's going to put them at 5-2. So, I mean, do I think they'll beat Texas? No.
Yeah.
Do I think it's possible that they can win out? I don't even think they win out because they're going to Kentucky. That's probably 60-40 against winning. Ball State's a win. They got Texas is coming to Nashville. They're going to Auburn. The Cox are coming to town. I think they can win that game. They're going to Death Valley. They got to go to Death Valley before we come to town Saturday after Thanksgiving. So I actually joked with my sister.
I don't know if that'll be a corn dog in good time.
I don't know. I actually told my sister it might be worth actually going to the game this year for her.
Yeah,
because
could be.
I mean, we've tried to go the past few years, and for one reason or another, we have not been able to do it.
Let me ask you this. Hear your thoughts on it anyway. Is Texas a given to be in that SEC championship?
Well, they've provided they don't screw up against OU. They've got Texas coming to town, or excuse me, Georgia coming to town, and so the schedule actually favors them down the stretch. They got 4 home games, three road games. So they've got back to back. They got Oklahoma. That's in Dallas though, so it's a home game.
Yeah.
I mean, so Oklahoma, that's just a 50-50 home game. Oklahoma, and then they've got Georgia. Then they go to Nashville. Then the Gators come to town. Arkansas comes to town. I mean, A&M's not going to be easy. They got to go to College Station, and that game, of course, having not been played for however many years, that one's going to be a kind of a fight. I could definitely see.
I can see that.
I could see it could be a situation kind of like the unranked A&M pulling off one against Alabama at the last second. So, I mean, if A&M keeps trending in the direction that they're trending, I could see them causing Texas a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I do kind of find it ironic though that it's actually their second SEC home game is against Oklahoma. Their first, but it's not, I honestly don't know if Oklahoma's going to be a real test. Georgia, we're going to see what we see. I don't know if Ewers. I don't know if Ewers will be back by then or not.
They're kind of the only SEC team that's really lived up to the billing
so far.
It's this far into the season, yeah.
But outside of Michigan, this is really the only game. Next week is the only game they've played. I mean,
that's also true, man.
They really haven't. I mean, and the only thing that really gave them trouble at Michigan was the environment.
Yeah.
So, wasn't anything schematically that Shamar and the boys were doing to hurt them.
Yeah, no, I would definitely call that a weaker Michigan team. When all is said and done,
which I think they'll finish pretty strong, but yeah, they're not what they were.
Yeah, well, and there's also not playing anybody
True.
So we're 35 in. Let's we'll move back, touch on some other sports and other news going on, and then we'll discuss our picks. What you say here?
Sure.
News from today. In our world, in most of the Field of Streams world, most of us are Braves fans. Hitting coaches getting fired left and right. Have you seen this news?
I have not.
Okay, so they got rid of Kevin Seitzer and Bobby Mangeland. Not necessarily household names, but I think that Kevin Seitzer had been with the team a little while longer than the other guy. And I think there was a third person even that it all had to do with hitting coaches. So obviously this is where you go to when people get fired.
Yep.
Who do you think we get to be hitting coaches?
I mean, I just think that somebody that's going to teach people, help people be patient at the plate, that's going to give them an idea of being more strategic, putting the ball in place, is trying to swing for the fences every single time. That's why I kind of look at somebody maybe like a, I mean, I'm old school. I go back to somebody like a Terry Pendleton or I mean, if they wanted to bring in Chipper, okay. Would he do it? Would he do it would be the bigger question.
He had a role kind of similar. I don't think it was that important as these guys that got fired. But he did.
Excuse me.
When he gave a report on them, on the players, he kind of said the things that I, as a baseball fan, and a player, and what I was taught.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously weren't taught much because your laptop probably went dead again. Yay. Basically what I think the Braves need, they need somebody who is going to just instill in them the need to play station to station baseball, put the ball in play, first base, second base, third base, generate runs, get guys on base. You can't score if you don't get on base. That's basically what I look at. If you can hit for power, great, but you got to be. I want somebody who's going to think more strategically. Is what I want in a hitting coach. As far as who's left playing, I would like to. I'd like to see. I'd like to see the Padres be able to win it, but I just don't. That's either here or there. They're the last national team national league team that outside of the Brewers that hasn't done it. But they've got a lot of hotheads on their team. Manny Machado and Tatis are kind of acting like babies, and they don't really have what I would consider to be a locker room leader that's going to kind of be the glue that holds this thing together. The one thing they do the one thing they do have is they've got the best bullpen in the game. If they can get 5-6 innings out of a starter, get a 2-0 lead, 1-0 lead, 2-0 lead, 2-1 lead, it's a real possibility that they're going to shut the opposition down. So I would really like to see the Padres do it. It would be nice to see Kansas City be able to pull it off against the Yankees. Right now, the Yankees are up 1-0, top of the fifth. So I would definitely rather see the Royals win it. I mean, I was a big George Brett and Dan Quisenberry guy back in the 80s, when the Royals were really successful around 1980, 84, in that era when they were really good. Detroit or Cleveland. Detroit mainly because it's the lowest payroll in baseball. I mean, I think that says a lot about the heart of the players and the coaching. And he's back. Do you have to piss on spark plug?
Really want to, I don't know, throw something out the window or something. All right, so, we were talking about Chipper.
I talked about the other series while you were out. So, and I talked about basically what I wanted in a hitting coach was somebody that was going to be more strategic, more station to station, that emphasized getting guys on base as opposed to, always wanting to send the ball into orbit.
Right.
Halfway to Florida every time you swing the bat.
This is true. And that's what Chipper Jones said about these guys that he was helping. He was like, everybody wants to be a long ball hitter, and you just can't go up to bat that way. And if you'll notice, when Ozzy Albies came back,
yep,
who actually tries to hit it in, just past the infield or drop one in other places, we actually did better as a baseball team. Go figure. But I got to think they're looking at Chipper to fill this spot, but who knows? There may be some guy in Gwinnett or some of these other minor league teams for the Braves that they want to promote, or who knows. Ultimately, what I was going to get around to is the poor Phillies and how they had to go home.
Oh, my heart just breaks for them.
I know it. Bunch of bastards. So who do you think? Who do you got? Who do you have going to the World Series?
I would like it. I would like to see the Tigers or the Royals, but I just don't. I don't see right now. The Royals are losing to the Yankees in the bottom of the fifth. I don't see them. I don't see the Royals being able to come back from that. Yeah. So I'm kind of the Yankees. I'm going to be kind of hopeful. I'm going to say Yankees Padres. If the Padres can figure out if the Padres can figure out a way to get their shit together, because while the Padres have the best bullpen in the game, they've also got some guys with some really shitty attitudes. Machado and Tatis are really immature and they act like it.
And that gentleman the other night, Preffery or whatever, the guy that caught Mookie's home run.
Yeah.
It wasn't all on Betts or the Dodgers that someone threw that baseball into the field. They shouldn't have done that, just like we know a thing or two about idiot ass fans that throw shit on the field.
Yep.
However, as they play left field over there, center field left. I don't follow the Padres as closely as I could. When he made that catch, he stood there, knowing he had caught the ball, but he didn't want the people on the field, including Mookie Betts, to know that he caught the ball.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a dick about it. He didn't just, hey, I caught it. It's kind of sneaky. So they've got that immature problem with at least a third of the team that's batting every night. With that being said, I wouldn't mind seeing them go to the World Series because they are built a lot like Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I would like to, my dream scenario would be Padres Royals. But like you said, once you get down to the Yankees, I don't know, they can come back, but not very likely.
No.
But if the Padres can get to 1-0, 2-0, then get 5 2/3 out of a starter, that bullpen shut anybody down. And I think that's. I mean, that one's not over by a long shot.
Yeah,
that could be a really long game tomorrow night.
Moving on to the NFL. We got the Chiefs and the Vikings still undefeated.
And
going into week 6.
I honestly don't know if Sam Darnold's that good.
Yeah.
Or, JJ McCarthy. I mean, is not recovering at the rate they don't want him to. But that's, for some reason, I think I feel a bubble there.
Yeah.
I don't feel confident. I mean, there was a time many moons ago when the Jets had Kenny O'Brien as their starter cornerback, and they started out 7-0, and they lost 8 of their last 9 games. So,
and if you're a Titans fan,
do I see that happening here? Probably not. I mean, they still got to play Detroit. They still got to play. They've got to go to Detroit. They've got to go to They've already managed to beat. They managed to win in Green Bay.
Yeah.
They've got to go to Detroit this week. That's not going to be easy. They've got the South is their crossover this year. Well, they crossed the NFC South and the AFC South this year. That's their cross conference schedule. So they've got the Colts. They have Indy at home, and then they go back-to-back weeks to Jacksonville and then to us. And then they close out with the Lions. So I see one
I see at least 2 losses on there that are definite. They very well could lose to the Falcons at home. The Falcons have just been really, really happy-go-lucky this year.
Yeah.
That seems like a team that's got something special going on, and they have been finding ways to win. The NFC South has just been really, really good as far as just like being competitive with each other.
Yeah.
And so that one, it's going to be interesting to see who comes out. Because it could be any one of the 4 teams that comes out of that. I don't think that. Right now New Orleans is in trouble because Derek Carr's out. I don't know how long Derek Carr is going to be out. So that hurts them.
But they won't put him on injured reserve.
No.
So he will be back sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But they might lose the 2 to 3 games that he's not with him. I don't know. I can see the Vikings losing. And
by the way, did you see who the Saints are starting?
Yeah. Somebody in my fantasy league picked up Spencer Rattler before they announced that, because it could have been that.
He's gonna get annihilated.
Yeah. What's the other guy's name though? That he actually came in after Carr got hurt the other day.
Hayner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jake Hayner.
They need Carr back for sure. But he was doing really well before he got hurt. And the Saints were a surprise, and I don't mind rooting for them because they haven't been that good in a pretty good while. But the Chiefs, if we're talking about teams that are, kind of ripe for a loss, between the 2 undefeated teams, to me, the Chiefs don't look anything like they have.
I think it's a borrowed. It's kind of a borrowed time situation.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm just checking my. While we're talking, I'm checking my fantasy football, and Debo is finally having a game. He's got two receptions, 87 yards, and a touchdown.
We both had Christian McCaffrey, by the way.
Yes, and he'll be back in November. We'll see.
Now, I managed to pick up McCaffrey's replacement.
Yeah, I managed to pick up for this week. I picked up. I got Calvin Ridley as an extra pickup. I don't know that he's, and I've got Zay Flowers in that starting second wide receiver spot. So, and he's playing against Washington. I may swap that out.
I think that might be a good idea because I think Washington's secondary is a little better than people give credit for.
Yeah.
The one guy that I picked him up because he was only in like 25% of Yahoo leagues was Tank Bigsby, and there's rumor going around that he might be the comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
After last year's.
Well, I've also got. I'm pretty. The one pickup I had last week that ended up being really good was I needed a tight end, and so I ended up picking up Tucker Kraft from Green Bay, and he went off. He had two scores and did really, really well for me. I may, Evan Ingram may play this week. I'm kind of waiting to see. Tucker Craft's got a home game this weekend against Arizona, so I think I may just stand pat there.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm hoping Alvin Kamara has a big game this week running the ball against Tampa. He's going to need it.
He may just seem like I had seen Tampa's defense was not great against the run.
Yeah.
Kind of one of those mid-level teams. Other than that, I had to pick up Drake May because I do indeed have Derek Carr as I'm in one of those 2 quarterback leagues, which I don't really enjoy. But
I've got Stafford as my second quarterback, and
yeah,
I've been getting a lot of suggestions. Oh, cut Stafford and pick up Justin Fields. I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, I think Tomlin might throw Russ in there, and if he plays halfway decently, then I
don't know. Justin Fields has been playing awfully well for the Steelers. I think Russell Wilson's gonna have to have some kind of spectacular practice or something that makes it change. But I picked up Drake May. So we'll see how that kid does. Because it was slim pickings. When you got, I think we got 12 people. Each of them got 2 quarterbacks, some of them 3. I did have Gardner Minshew, but they've decided that he's out.
I still don't get the appeal of that guy. I mean, it's backyard football. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason the way the guy plays. It's backyard football, and he's going to end up getting.
Yeah.
he's going to lose more games than and it's not even talented backyard football. I mean, a lot of Archie Manning stuff was kind of backyard football style, but Archie was at least talented.
Yeah.
I mean, Archie could get away with it. I don't know. Minshew's not talented enough to be able to pull that off. And
if you go back, because I did this, I was like, because I was looking to see, what are they saying about him? Is he going to be this is when they were still on the fence, like who's going to start? And there's a video out there that shows some of his throws as an East Carolina Pirate, whatever.
Who, Minshew?
Yeah.
He's Washington State Coug.
Yeah, but at first he was at East Carolina.
Oh, he was? Okay. Because I know he played for Mike Leach.
Yeah, that's where he played for Mike Leach, was at Washington State. But some of the throws he made in college were pretty great. But when you look at the NFL and college, it is definitely apples and oranges.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of literally when you talk about the Vols and Washington State. All right, so we've reached the hour. Putting her in first, second gear here, winding it up. Let's talk about some of our picks. So in our field of streams, chat group, league, prognosticator of football, it's kind of measured off into like 2-person teams, 3-person teams. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
So representing our team, I'm in 3rd place. 2 points behind our fearless leader, who hopefully at least by the time we get around playing Georgia, he'll come on here and talk a little smack or something.
Mm-hmm.
So Mitch is in the lead, followed by our Gator friend, who also did not show. And
I mean, if they don't want to face the firing squad, I can't say that I blame them. But I mean, they're beanbag. It's beanbag shot. It's beanbag shot. We don't
yeah.
We don't shoot to kill.
Non-lethal weaponry.
Yeah, ego bruising maybe a little bit, but nothing that risks life or limb.
So our Archie fan and the Florida fan and me, all on there with 20 points. Cole, somebody's brother-in-law or uncle's cousin's sister's nephew, I don't know, he's in there with 20 points as well. And then it kind of separates by 2 or 3 points. Dren, you're down there with 14.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm representing Forrest. I got 20.
I can live with that.
Bringing up the rear is the process page, which I don't think she played in all the prognostication games.
She probably has not.
Yeah.
We'll probably be seeing her on the show next week anyway. So.
Oh, I like the Bama people coming on.
I do too. I do too.
They're
I get. Yeah, they are.
They are. All right. So bringing week 7 to a close here. You got anything to say, Dren?
We have to come out with an attitude. We have to come out with purposeful anger. We cannot come out there and settle for running the ball up the middle, not using our tight ends, not trying to challenge forward and vertically. Defense just needs to keep doing what it's doing. The offense has got to step up and do their half. If we can do that, then we can. This is a 2-touchdown game for us. But we've got to step up and we've got to play to the level of the talent that we have on that roster. We haven't done it. Not yet. Not against anybody that counts anyway.
I agree.
So, as much and I agree that the juice is not on this as much. Florida's been down there, but I still want this one. I mean, I always want to beat Florida whenever we get the chance. So we come out of this one, we get our swagger back, and then the tide comes running in the door next week, the week after, and then we'll see where we're at. If we can end October at 6-1, sky's still the limit. I mean,
amen.
Georgia, and I think everybody's gettable.
I do too.
We found that out. Everybody's gettable this year.
There's a chink in everybody's armor. And like you said, I think we got to come out swinging, pissed. Whatever's going to get you motivated to go out there and play your best on that football field.
Exactly.
Because if you don't, I think the Gators have something to prove.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
I think they've got something to prove every game this season.
Yep.
And I think if you don't watch out, it becomes another, I said another trap game.
I mean,
I don't think they will let that happen.
Nope.
But I think that's the recipe for it right there is you think somebody's nobody and, you just kind of come out there, oh, this is just another game. No, be pissed. I want you to be so angry when you come out on that field from losing the week before. You can't stand it. You don't want to even see these son bitches on the other team.
Exactly.
And that's how you win a game. If you like what you've seen,
like, subscribe. We did to help us build upon our measly, if you want to call it an empire. Be sure to check out our friends Elliot and Miles and our boy Max at Pike Barbershop here in Knoxville, and check Max out on Instagram at Max Ramos on Instagram, or MVX Ramos on Instagram, Max the Barber. And if you find yourself with a hot dog in your hand in search of a condiment, make sure you get the best the finest condiment in all of sports for eating and throwing, French's mustard. Make sure you drink your Milo's sweet tea, the manna of the South. Go to Buc-ee's. Be sure to buy your nuggets and your Buc-ee's Stanley.
Get your brisket sandwich.
Get the slice. Prefer the slice over the chop, but that's a personal thing.
Amen. Twice on Sunday.
And also, if you must hurl a golf ball at the head of Lane Kiffin, we're allowing his players to fake injuries in the middle of the field. Make sure you choose the number one golf ball in the sport, Titleist. And on that note, it's week number 6 of the Very Yards live stream is closed. We'd like to thank everybody for watching, and those who rewatch and subscribe later on. We will
subscribe, comment.
Please ask questions.
Anything you want on here.
Exactly. Come on the show. We're happy to have you.
On.
So, but either way, go Vols. Beat them Gators. And we will catch you on the flip side.
We'll see you on the flip side. Go Vols.
South Central Florida, stay safe.
Absolutely. Also, if you give beyond this date, down below to either one of these, 100% of this money will go to recovery from these hurricanes. These folks need it. All right. We'll see y'all later. Peace and go Vols.
Go Vols.
deputies look for hardened criminals. Remember this flashlight? Golly!
My baby! My baby! Oh, thank you, kind sir. I thought I'd never see my Precious again. There, baby. Mama's got you now. Precious? What is it? What have you done to my baby?
I am afraid your son has seen many things on our travels, and has now achieved Sakai, the spirit of the samurai.
My baby! My baby! Oh, thank you, kind sir. I thought I'd never see my